Hello, welcome. My name is Efren, and this is the Modern Sapien. I keep wanting to say podcast. The Modern Sapien YouTube channel. All right. And I wanted to go over something because we just hit a huge milestone in our business, or aside from the business, me personally, for the first time in 8 years, I went ahead and had a successful hiring process. And not only was it successful, but it was my first real attempt. I say that because the first time I sort of half-assed it, so I would call it half an attempt, but this is like the first real one, and I learned a lot. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I figured it out, and now next time I will do it in 50% faster. So I just wanted to make a video, share my process. Yeah, it's also like, let me show you something. So I can show you on my phone, but I think I can just show you on the internet. Can you see this? Yeah, you can. Okay. So look at the weather. We ain't going nowhere. And it's 27 degrees. It's basically snow white outside. And tomorrow it's going to be super cold also. And that ice is not going to melt. So I'm stuck inside. And I had been wanting to make a video for a while. So now we're here. Also, these glasses, what are they? They are orange tinted. I found them at the store. I didn't steal them. I found them. And I thought they were kind of dumb, but they absolutely help with eye strain when you're working on the computer for multiple hours a day. So if you have never tried these, I recommend that you do. They have really helped me. And yeah, that's it. So let's go back to why we're here. Hiring. And I finally hired someone that they are going to start this upcoming week. So where to start? Where do I start? All right, I remember now. So like I said, I literally did not know where to start. So I had an idea, and like I said, I half attempted in the past. So I at least knew where to do it. It was going to be Indeed. Now we live in 2026, and I can say this because I'm old enough to remember life pre-internet, but with ChatGPT or any other AI tool that you use, we are extremely lucky to have this tool at our disposal. And I went from knowing nothing to having a plan in like 30 minutes. And that's what this is. I used ChatGPT to help me create a 5-step plan. Why 5-step? I don't know. 5 sounded good to me. I know I didn't want to do 10. That's too many steps. I know I didn't want to do 2 or 3. I feel like it would be too much. And because I'm starting from scratch, I wanted to kind of get something in the middle. So 5 seemed fair to me. That seemed doable, possible. So that's why I went there. What I did was you have to spend time on the prompt, and not too much time. But what I mean by that is you have to log into ChatGPT and say, "Hey, I'm looking to hire." You talk to it like it's a person, and write this as you're thinking it. Just write it. ChatGPT does a really good job of understanding you better than what you think. I put in, "Hey, I'm looking to hire someone for a part-time position. These are the things that I would need them to be doing so I can move on to other aspects of the business. Instead of me working so much in the business, I want to work on it and develop it, build it, grow it. Um, Ask me some clarifying questions. That is vital. You have to ask it that. What it's going to do, it's going to understand what you initially said, and then it's going to provide you with. It used to be just a couple. Now it's every time I do that, it's asking me like 10, 15 questions. And the whole point is so it can tailor its response to you with more context. And it's a win-win scenario. It's a win for chat because it gets to please its owner and get it right on the first shot. And it's a win for me as the user because it's really tailored to my specific needs because I'm providing the information, like the exact information of start date, what exactly are the skills, do they need this, do they need that. um, I mean, it'll just ask you great questions. So once you do that, hit enter or answer all the questions, copy paste, hit enter, and it'll just provide you with a 5-step plan. And is it 100% perfect? No. But compared to starting at zero, this was now a framework I could use to now build on and start moving, start taking those steps forward. So I really ended up using this um, all the way through. So step one being lock in the role and standards, responsibilities by this day. So for me, it was a part-time technician with project support, essentially meaning when we're doing any kind of landscape projects, we're not going to be mowing lawns. So I don't need them to be doing that. I want them to be aware that they're going to be helping us with more labor-intensive stuff like moving materials, digging, trenching, planting, installing, stuff like that. Uh, the hours, scope of work, and then here's this 30-day success criteria. Okay, whatever. Step two, now it's build the hiring funnel and launch recruiting. Step three, screen. Step four, once you have a couple of applicants, then do working interviews. And then step five is you hire one and you do a 30-day training period and blah, blah, blah. So this is essentially such a great start. Now, here's what I did even further. I said, okay, great. This is awesome. Let's start one step at a time, starting with step one. Help me figure out this job role. Ask me any clarifying questions. And it'll just now do this again before specifically only step one. Already, we all know what we need done, but sometimes it's hard. It seems that most of the time it's hard to put it on paper. Like we feel like we know what to do, but it's hard to explain it because we're so caught up with emotions about it, at least for me. So having chat help me put my mind to paper to give to put together a job application was super beneficial in itself. So that step one was super vital. That's essentially your foundation for the rest of the whole hiring process. If you don't know what you're looking for, you can't find the right applicant. You're just wasting everybody's time. So definitely spend like a day if needed, just doing step one and figuring out what exactly you need help with and how to tailor this application. Once you have a good understanding of what you need, once you have a good understanding of your job application, go ahead and copy paste it to chat and put, I'm going to use Indeed as the platform optimizes for Indeed. And it'll do whatever it needs to do to optimize it. I know that may not make much sense, but each platform um, tailors their applications a certain way. So you just want to be specific to whatever you're using. And let me actually show you. Let me pull the curtain. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So here is my Indeed. Hopefully that, yeah, here's my Indeed. Here is my application. Where's it at? No, that's not it. Oh shit, I just fucked it up. Oh, where'd my camera go? I'm not sure why my camera turned off. Anyway, here it is. Here's my application. And Jesus. And I don't know where to put this bobblehead. Um, Here is the application description. And this is what I mean. It formatted it like this, with the bullets, with the bold, with the different areas. And that's what I mean. Tailor it to the platform. I want it to be easy to understand, easy to read for anyone that's going to look at it. So don't just copy paste whatever chat tells you. Put your mind to it. It's not going to fix all your problems, but it's going to definitely speed things up 50-fold. It's incredible. For those young kids that never had internet prior, or that always had internet, they don't understand what life was like prior. I mean, this is just, that's a whole other conversation. Anyway, you can see that my application got 3,000 impressions, which I'm not really sure what that means, but from that I got 130 clicks, which I'm assuming meant someone looked at it, they clicked the application, and then from there I got 30 applications. So overall my goal was to get 20, and this all happened within a 5-day period. Like I posted it, no, I guess 6-day. I posted it on Sunday by accident, not realizing I did. And then I finalized it on Monday and closed the job. I paid a total of $66 to sponsor it, which is hella cheap. Don't listen to Indeed because it'll tell you, oh, they recommend sponsoring it for $30 a day because that's what your competition's doing. It's a bunch of BS. I don't believe that at all. Like I said, I was able to do it at $15, and I was going to do 10, but it convinced me to do 15. It wanted me to do almost 25 or 30. I don't remember. So anyway, yeah, that's the application. And here's the little thing. What else? What else? What else? What else? What I ended up doing was someone applied. Then Danny, our virtual assistant, I made her an admin on the platform. She would get notified that someone applied, and then she would reach out to them via Indeed, message them saying, hey, thanks for applying. Can we schedule a phone call? I gave her the days and times that I'm available for a phone call in 30-minute time slots, and she just booked them. So as they applied, she reached out and booked them back to back to back to back. Total, out of 30 applications, we were able to get, let me show you, we were able to get 24 phone calls. And let me tell you that this was on purpose. Again, I had no experience. I was scared, nervous, had anxiety, blah, blah, blah. Only because I didn't know what I was doing, because I've never done it. So I thought, what better way to get over this fear is to just do it a bunch. So I made it a goal in my mind to do 20 phone interviews, not because I needed them, but because I needed them, wanted to do them to get over my fear of this hiring process. And I'll tell you, by 10, I was already over it. But I stuck to it, and we ended up doing 24. So my goal was 20 because I needed the reps, and we ended up doing 24. And I let Danny know, our virtual assistant, hey, I need the experience. So even if someone doesn't seem like a good fit, just book them anyway. I need to go through this. And like I said, by number 10, I was like, all right, I'm over it. I think I know what I'm doing now. But anyway, I stuck through it, and I loved it because I learned a lot. It doesn't feel good at the time, but looking back, I'm very happy with my progress. Next time, it's going to be 50% faster. So after that, what do we do? So after that, well, before I move forward, I just want to touch base again because I didn't know what I was doing. I took each step as its own like journey. So I also had the one. These are my notes. So like for step one, the role details. Like I took notes and put stuff together and consolidated my ideas, and then I figured out the Indeed workflow. That was its own thing. How to apply message templates, this and that. I had an initial idea of sending them to my website, but it got complex, so I just scaled it back, made it more simple. Once I was there, I was like, well, how do I just call them and say what's up or no? So here's my job description with formatted how I wanted it. So I knew that once I started calling people, I needed to figure out a system to uh, let me take it back. When I first tried hiring and it was at half attempt, one of the things I realized was when I was making phone calls, I was sort of just freestyling and didn't know what I was doing or saying. And I was didn't have really a framework for taking notes. So I knew this time around that that was one of the constraints. So if I make 30 phone calls or 20 phone calls, how by the end of the week, how do I know who was good, who was bad? So doing a scorecard was one of the big things. And this is sort of the third iteration of it. But this, I ended up just printing this out. And each time I had a phone call, I had this ready at hand to take notes, to give them an overall score to see if I was going to pass them on to the next step. So highly recommend doing that when you're calling a bunch of applicants. It's just going to help you organize notes and jot things down, because after you have a few calls, you're going to forget what y'all talked about, and you're going to forget who was good, who was bad. Anyway, after that, we went from, so let's go back to Indeed. We went from 3,100 impressions. So Zoom sucks, man. Zoom used to be good to record on, but now it's like real glitchy. 3,100 impressions, down to 138 clicks, down to 30 applicants, down to 24 scheduled interviews. After 24 scheduled interviews, guess what? Only 5 made it to the next step, which is more than I was expecting. I was only expecting 3. Let me show you. Here, you see all this? Here is all the applicants that I'm talking about and all the scorecards. This was, so yeah, here we go. So front and back, and all of these are not people that got hired. And we finally got one person that got hired. But, you know, two things that came to mind when I was doing this. First is, even though people applied and then they scheduled a phone interview, they didn't answer and then didn't call me back. So I'm like, what the hell? What was the point? So that's actually part of my thing here. An instant fail. I don't care if you call me back, or no, let me take that back. I did give him some leeway. In my head, I gave him to the end of the day to call me back, only because I did leave a voicemail. So I assumed that if you actively applied, you actively scheduled an interview, you with a time and date, and you don't answer, I'm gonna assume something came up. But I left you a voicemail telling you why I was calling, and if I don't hear nothing back by the end of the day, it was like, all right, instant fail, no worries. Another thing I noticed was that I got a lot of high school kids applying, which, nothing against high school kids, but you got to go to school and we work every day. So I think it was a more mistake on my side on my application post. I didn't make that clear, or maybe I didn't make it I need to tweak it to where it's a requirement of Monday through Friday, not the weekends. because that's what they wanted. They wanted weekends or potentially like a summer job. But we're in January, so we're not even close to summer, so it just wasn't going to work out. And that was probably like 5 high school kids that called me. So those two things that come to mind from all the calls. Anyway, from 30, we've narrowed down to 5. And I was surprised because all 5 showed up. I wasn't expecting them to. I was completely okay with them not showing up because I understand how this goes. It's mostly just a numbers game. But I learned a lot from it, and I was super happy we went through this whole process. And then again, I went through ChatGPT and helped me understand the workflow interview, and just how I made a phone scorecard. I ended up making a field interview scorecard. Now, did we use it? Not necessarily as much as the phone card, but it was good to reference for myself or for the team when the guys were out there, because it sort of gives you like a framework to what to look out for what to look out for and what to think about when you're working alongside these guys for half the day. So out of the 5, it really came down to top 2. And the first guy, yeah, it came down to the top 2. And it really just came down to, I think, 2 things that come to mind. One of them was bilingual, the other one wasn't. But the one that wasn't bilingual had more experience than the one that was. So it was like, oh, shit, man, if I could just mold y'all together, this would be perfect. But I can't do that. I'm not an alchemist. And after talking to my team, I took in their opinion, and we ended up going with the bilingual applicant. I went with him. It could have gone either way, but I ended up going with him because the bilingual aspect makes it easier for communication. Most of my team is primarily Spanish speaking. It's not a requirement, and I was totally expecting having an English speaking only. But now, after going through the reps, I see that it's almost a necessity because it's going to help align our team together. And communication is so vital to where it ended up being a bigger pillar than I expected. And then second is, even though the bilingual guy has less experience, I was really looking for what his mindset was like. Skills can be taught and learned and improved upon. So if someone doesn't know how to use a weed whacker or doesn't use it as good as I do, I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about, is the guy teachable? Is he listening to the tips that I'm giving him? Can I train him up? That's really what I'm looking at. And having that field interview really gives you that sense if this person has that ability. So overall, that's why we chose Allan. That's his name, was because he's bilingual and he has the mentality as that's what it seems like so far, that he is someone that is coachable, that we can train him up. And he's got a hungry, humble kind of vibe to him. Now, so what's the next step? Well, we ended up sending a message template to those that didn't make it. And then I called Allan to let him know, hey, guess what? You survived. Everybody else didn't make it. So we went over the kind of the pay structure, and then sort of what the next plan is of 30-day training period, where he's still, he's basically hired on, but still anything can happen if no show, no call, or starts exhibiting some bad behavior or disrespectful, or just something is off within those 30 days. I'm cutting that cord, and guess what? We get to do this all over again. Hell yeah. I'm just not going to tolerate any kind of toxic behavior, and I don't think anybody should. So that 30 days starts this week, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen because I'm going to learn a lot as a business owner. This is our first real hire that's outside of friends and family, and I want to get better and I want to be the best business owner I can literally possibly be. I want to be the best boss I can be, not a nice boss. I don't want to be a pushover. I want to be kind and I want to be a great business owner and someone that builds and provides a great working environment and builds people up, men or women, build them up to the best that they can be in native scenery landscapes. So anyway, that's where we're at. Thanks, ChatGPT, for helping me with everything. Hopefully you took something out of this. This is sort of a long video, but this was a huge, huge, huge milestone for me personally and for native scenery landscapes. I think on the next video, it'll probably be about who knows what, but whenever we hit the 30 days, I'll make a follow-up video to see how everything went. And if we get to do this again and rehire because it fell through, or if it all was successful. So any questions, let me know. Just post it in the comments and I will make a video about it, going through any details. So, all right, bye.